This is Joe's Corner 76. I'll be commenting on the human condition. In order to change it, we have to be involved. I started this podcast on Canada Day and I began having some thoughts about our country, its people, and the state we're in. We are different from Americans, not better, and we should cherish the difference. We don't, as a country, have a lot of what Americans feel like. Love it or leave it. We are known worldwide as a country that has a multicultural society that as a whole lives in harmony, respecting the differences between us, but united in the desire to be Canadian. We do not have a national gun culture that proposes everyone carry firearms anytime and anywhere. It's not now in our nature to settle many minor differences with a gun that often ends up with unnecessary and useless deaths and injuries. This is almost a daily occurrence in the U.S. Our health systems, while not perfect, provides a high level of care countrywide for all Canadians, regardless of their income, and we will never lose everything. This is not the case in the U.S., where the people have lost everything because of a health issue. In Canada, there is absolutely no concerted effort to put laws into place to restrict voting rights, and the right to vote is guaranteed, although sadly, many people don't exercise their right. The U.S. is now passing voting laws that will restrict the requirements to vote, and this is a direct effort to deprive people of color of their right to vote. At present, the majority of Canadians support the change of government by vote and not a change of government by force. Looking at what happened on January 2nd, 2022 in the U.S., we know that the mob was set out to overthrow the government and set aside the peaceful transfer of power from 1789 through 59 presidents. This has not happened in Canada yet and hopefully never will. But there are fringe elements that would like to replace the government by force. We have to watch these groups and take appropriate action where required. And I think most Canadians would support this. We do not need the overreaction of the Emergency Measures Act. The decision in the U.S. to reverse Roe versus Wade has the U.S. in an uproar, and the people are expressing their displeasure at the ruling. Since the majority of their citizens oppose this decision, it is important to note that due to this, each state can decide on abortion rights. So it makes the problem even more complex. In Canada, our abortion laws apply countrywide and are not subject to each provincial jurisdiction. While Canadians can express their support for the U.S. citizens, we should not forget that Canada has a fundamental right of abortion, and it's been legal in Canada and Quebec since 1988. There is no move whatsoever in Canada to remove this right. Don't let certain politicians and groups use this as a lever to push their agendas. We as Canadians have real problems to deal with. The U.S. Supreme Court is now talking about same-sex marriage, and this has raised a concern in the U.S. in view of the conservative makeup of the Supreme Court. Same-sex marriage has legally been recognized nationwide by the enact of the Civil Marriage Act of 2005 in Canada, and the provinces allow marriage certificates to be issued. This is really a non-issue in Canada. I don't accept that Canada is an inherently racist country. Canada does not have the same history of racial injustice and slavery that the U.S. had. We ended slavery in 1794. We have done some abhorrent things, like limiting immigration from China, interring the Japanese during World War II, and the way we treated Indigenous people. We have never had state-endorsed genocide to eradicate any nationality or race. We, as a country, have apologized for our errors. We have paid and continue to pay reparations for these mistakes. Canadians have freely admitted their faults and are actively working to see that they don't occur again. We are a nation of law, but our laws are finally made by our elected officials and not our courts, which is a difference in Canada over the U.S. One of the dangers Canada faces is polarization, fueled by the mass media, far right-wing groups, and opportunistic politicians who are using any issue that they can to pit one area of the country against the other. We do not need the type of polarization occurring in the U.S. Canada needs to start acknowledging the Canadian military for the excellently trained forces they are, in spite of the poor state of some of their equipment. During World War II, Canada had more than 1 million personnel in the armed forces, out of the total population of between 11 and 12 million. The forces have distinguished themselves in peacekeeping missions as well as other theaters of war. Remember, Canada has a proud heritage of defending freedom. The way the U.S. tells it, they won the war single-handedly. We need to tell our politicians to provide the military with the equipment they need to face the challenges of today. Canada is known worldwide for its fairness, lawful government change by vote, not force, its religious freedom of speech and assembly. Don't let anyone change our system. Our freedom is so fragile and so easily lost. Stand on guard for the Canada we know. We don't need to become quasi-Americans. Happy Canada Day to all. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Joe's Corner 76. You can hear me on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Stitcher, and YouTube at Joe's Corner 76.